The Reddit user BogPlanet has spent years of her life obsessively wondering if she is a real woman or a non-binary person, so she decided to reach out to detransitioners for help. Let's get into this post.
How many of you transitioned due to feeling like you were a wrong, bad example of a woman instead of really wanting to be something else? Specifically, want detrans female perspectives, but I appreciate anyone who can weigh in if this resonates at all. A 30-year-old woman who never transitioned socially or medically, but have spent years obsessively and painfully questioning whether I'm trans, and I feel like this is one of the only places I can talk about these feelings without people promptly telling me I must be trans. I've seen other people post here with extremely familiar stories, and I want to thank you guys for introducing me to the term gender OCD, which is exactly how I've been thinking of my experience for years. Long story below, extremely grateful for any perspectives, whether you read it all or not. I've had a deep sense of there being some kind of wrongness about me as a woman girl for basically my whole life. I can remember hating my body and thinking it wasn't feminine enough as far back as early elementary school. Not body dysphoria in the sense of wanting to look male, but feeling like both my body and my personality were masculine. Apparently, there was one Halloween when I was little where I insisted I was a cowboy and not a cowgirl. I'm so grateful that my parents didn't run with that. I then had a gender panic phase in middle school where I was afraid that I was secretly not a girl after learning about the existence of trans people in 2007 and 2008 before transness took off as a mainstream social phenomenon. I was, in fact, an autistic bisexual girl who was experiencing the earliest signs of there something being different about me from the rest of my female friends, almost all straight and devoutly Christian, many of whom later dumped me and would call me a man as an insult. I was terrified to my core that I was secretly a man inside, even though I didn't want to be one. I got over it by telling myself that gender norms are fake, that I was just female as a neutral fact, and that I can be a woman however I want. And that was that until transness, and especially non binariness, became a major topic 10 years later. The idea that you don't even need to want to transition to be trans, and that there was no definition of trans, meant that there was no proof I could find that I wasn't actually trans and in denial. Sure, I didn't want to be a man, but I do want to read in some ways that could be called gender neutral, as I'm not feminine, half gay, and want to be seen as a human being, which women are, if you didn't know. I've had people, both trans and not, actively try to convince me that I'm trans when I talk about these feelings, and it made me afraid to ever express them. This is not something I've discussed with anyone in years for that reason, and this subreddit feels like one of the only places I can without someone immediately telling me I'm not a woman and reopening the wound. Non binary people say things like, I don't see myself as a man or a woman deep down. I see myself as a formless ball of light inside Tilda, and that is exactly how I see myself too, but I don't think that makes me non binary. I just think womanhood refers to the circumstances of my birth which have irrevocably shaped the path of my life, the social status I occupy, and that women are humans who can have any type of personality. Regardless, this all re-inflamed some extremely deep-seated insecurity. A few years ago, it was an all-consuming, obsessive rumination that dominated my thoughts every single day. Truly, the majority of my time was spent questioning, am I really a woman? Do I really qualify as one? Am I repressing the urge to be trans? A normal woman wouldn't be thinking about these things in the first place. Why do I care so much unless I'm actually trans? Am I either trans or a bigot with no other options in between? A bunch of other people have all come to the same conclusion about me. Am I saying they're all wrong? I was afraid that there was some law of the universe which made it so that if I felt a certain way, I was objectively not a woman, and meanwhile, that conclusion was validated by pop culture and a lot of people I know, all the way back to the mean girls calling me a man in middle school, even further back to me having the prototypical experience of wanted to be called a boy that one Halloween as a little kid. I periodically have people start using they them pronouns for me unprovoked, even though I don't style myself androgynous. Who was I to disagree? And that really helped me move on from that frame of mind and to be able to trust my own instincts over the ideas of others. I didn't even want to be anything other than a woman. I just want to be free of gendered expectations, and that's why I'm a feminist. You can't tell me I'm being a woman wrong because I'm different from non autistic straight women when, duh. I'm still afraid to participate in LGBT spaces with these experiences behind me, though. I desperately want community with gay bi women, but I feel like I can't have that without a lot of other shit that I don't like attached. And I'm sad that a lot of them don't identify as women anymore. It still makes me feel alone. Thank you to anyone who read all this. Kisses.
What do you guys think? How do you feel about gender non-conforming LGBT women being made to question their womanhood? I will leave the link to the post down in the comment section in case you want to respond to the post directly. Please, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.